sit with him and he starts to talk about it, and you just go, I want in. Just what do I have to do to be involved with this? And the experience of making it, like, we would be looking at each other on the set, the actors and the crew members, and we go, can you believe we get to do this? Like, this is incredible. When we find Max, he's you know, he's a guy who's working in a factory on Earth. He's basically resigned to his life on Earth. As the story progresses, we're told in flashback with a young Max who is played by an actor who looks more like me than I did when I was his age. It's incredible. But we realize that Max, like many people on planet Earth, has always aspired to get to Elysium. His dream is to someday get to Elysium. But by the time we find him, he's a guy who's been in and out of prison. Life has beat him up enough that he's kind of resigned to his fate, and he doesn't dream about Elysium anymore. There are all these different types of droids, you know, which we had a lot of fun with. I mean, there are the security droids who are, essentially Neil described them as, you know, the most kind of badass special forces human being. You know, that kind of protocol is put into this droid so that the droid is basically the greatest kind of Delta Force operator, you know, except a lot stronger because they don't have any human, you know, they're made of, you know, metal and you know, hydraulic pumps or whatever, and you know but so they're basically, and he said he wanted them to move like in a way that, you know, there's a fight I get in, you know, at the dump with one, and Neil explained this thing throws me into the back of a pickup truck from the hood and comes up over the you know, the cabin of the truck and then comes down onto me. But Neil said, you know, he's moved in a human way up until that point, but when he clambers over the truck, it's almost like he becomes a spider for a second, you know, and you suddenly realize that his joints and everything is capable of moving in a totally different way, that he's built literally for one thing, which is to provide the most effective security possible for the Elysian citizens, you know, so they're very formidable.
I think that she's, you know, I don't think that she's your, you know, twirling mustache bad guy. I think that she has a point, and her point is that the Earth that she came from, that she remembers, and don't forget she's 108 years old, was falling apart and was horrible, and it was a terrible place to be. And they've created this new habitat, Elysium, to get rid of some of the bad things that happened then. You know, the terrible pollution, toxicity of the planet, overpopulation, all those things that we all know right now are a problem. And now all her concern is really to protect that, and to protect the new habitat that they've come up with, the sort of utopian habitat that they've come up with. The production design is beautiful. It's kind of divvied up into two worlds, two very different worlds. One is this post-apocalyptic Los Angeles, where they're almost like everybody's almost living in a trash dump. You know, it's sort of smoldering and toxic, and people are coughing and dying of diseases, and everybody wants to get out. It's overcrowded, and the other place in the film is Elysium, which is a sort of utopian habitat that's been engineered in order to have a place for rich people to escape to, where all of their diseases are cured, and where they can live these beautiful lives. And there isn't really an underclass because they have robots to do anything that's menial. I think, like District 9, I think you have a film that's really intelligent. The fantasy elements to it are really intelligent. That has, you know, a much deeper sociological meaning. But it's a personal story, and I think it's moving. It really, you know, if there are similarities between the two films, both of them have ordinary men who woke up one morning, on one fated morning, and their whole life changes, and they go through such personal and physical suffering in order to eventually realize that their mission or their fate is to do the right thing and to connect with love. But you know, both films, very different movies, but both films in some ways have that same archetype.